It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. It's what allows us to pursue our individual dreams and yet still come together as one American family. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Now, even as we speak, there are those who are preparing to divide us. The spin masters, the negative ad peddlers, who embrace the politics of anything goes. Well, I say to them tonight, there is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. The pundits like to slice and dice our country into red states and blue states, red states for Republicans, blue states for Democrats. But I've got news for them, too. We worship an awesome God in the blue states, and we don't like federal agents poking around in our libraries in the red states. We coach Little League in the blue states, and yes, we've got some gay friends in the red states. There are patriots who opposed the war in Iraq, and there are patriots who supported the war in Iraq. We are one people, all of us pledging allegiance to the Stars and Stripes, all of us defending the United States of America.
What's good, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. Let me know y'all can hear me by show of ones. Peace and blessings to everybody joining. We got to talk about Democrats and Republicans. Oh, we got to unpack this. All right, I see the ones in the chat. Everything is working properly. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Democrats and Republicans are actually on the same side. They all believe in order out of chaos. The whole idea of a bipartisan system is simply an illusion to keep the people brainwashed. See, the truth of the matter is, they all believe in a one world totalitarian government. The Hegelian dialect is in full effect. And to some, what I'm saying is surprising. To others, you may have already deciphered this. But nonetheless, what I'm going to be doing today is bringing various talking points that you've probably never heard before. And I'm going to be bringing various sources to actually prove what I'm substantiating. And we definitely going to be ahead of the curve here. Somebody says you're up early in the weekend. That just actually happened to be up. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're catching the broadcast. We are going to cook. Everybody make sure you hit the likes on your way in. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? So I'm reading in the chat that there was no sound on the intro. Did the sound come in towards the end? I tell you, this software is a bit complicated, man. It's a lot to it. Somebody said the intro was muted. It shouldn't have done that. It shouldn't have done that. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I know that a lot of y'all rock with that intro heavy. I'm not sure why it did that. I don't know. Somebody said, could we run it back? No, I can't run it back because then we'll just be sitting here troubleshooting all night trying to figure out why that didn't work. Because I don't know. I'm telling you now. But what's important is, did you hear the source from earlier? And can you hear me? Yeah, technology can be something else, man. This software is state of the art. I'm using state of the art software, but it's a lot of window curve. Pardon me, a lot of learning curves with this thing. It's a lot of learning curves. All right, so you can hear me. That is great. That is great. Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's dead air at the beginning because that affects the broadcast, that affects the stream and everything. But nonetheless, we're here. We're here and we're going to do our best. All right, so y'all can hear me. Sorry about that. Listen, I'll troubleshoot that later on. I'm not sure why I did that, so we'll figure it out later. Nonetheless, this is something I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. And it's because I believe that it would truly lift the veil for a lot of people. I really do. I want people to understand that what the so-called powers that be thrive off of is their hatred for us. It's a concerted effort to cut Israel off from being a nation, so our name would no longer be in remembrance. It's a concerted effort. It's heavily calculated. It's on multiple fronts. And that includes the so-called bipartisan government that we have in America. Two sides, one system. Now, it's extremely important to notice because when you look at the great divide within the land, a lot of people are torn. Households are torn between political affiliations and views. And more often than not, based on common sense, deductive reasoning skills, or opinions, someone is able to pigeonhole you into one political party or the other based on your opinions. They politicize everything, including your opinion. And it's gotten to the point it's completely out of hand. And it crushes the idea of people just being able to consider what is right, what is wrong. Something as simple as the difference between right and wrong is divided by political affiliations. A tragic event can take place, and once it's publicized, depending on what your take on it is, people will automatically say, well, you must be a Democrat. You must be a Republican. That's problematic when they both work for Satan. Now, I'm not saying that there's not people within the system who can make changes for the betterment of the people. Believe it or not, that does still exist. However, it's few and far in between. Now, I want you to know who the real enemy is. And the real enemy is us. How they feel about us is what got them together in this cohesive or conservative front to dominate public view and curve public enthusiasm. Right? Now let's go into something here. I'm going to share this with you all. Hopefully y'all can hear this. If y'all can hear me once I share this, put a 1 in the chat.
Why in a minute? I'm going to show you a picture in a minute to show you exactly why I'm pissed.
Okay, hello, mic check. Mic check, mic check. 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Yes, something is wrong because I've been talking. My mic is not muted. Wow. This is so this is not good. Yo, let me. I'm speaking, ladies and gentlemen. And I said a lot just now. Okay. My mic wasn't muted. All right. I want to thank y'all for y'all's patience. Soon we're going to get all of this situated. There's been a lot of struggle streaming since I've set up with this new software, new setup. I'm still learning this stuff. I don't know why. It used to be you could just turn your stuff on, you streaming, you talking, you doing your thing, but we'll work it out. Take a sip of that pomegranate juice. I think it might have been muted on the app. I'm not sure. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back into the source. It didn't freeze. I wanted to break that first scripture now. So everybody hit the like button, get the likes up on the video, and we're going to chop it up. We're going to get into this, all right? We're going to get into it. Now, this scripture here at the very beginning, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Ladies and gentlemen, the so-called powers that be, those who control the so-called government, are your enemies. They're your enemies. Those who control the nation, control, the finances and the resources are your enemies. And you can never trust in thine enemy. These politicians are liars. When their mouths are moving, they're telling lies. They are your enemies. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm explaining this to you. This is the reason why the Bible will keep you on point. Once you know who your enemies are, once you really can comprehend what you're up against, once you understand what you're up against, you're not going to put your trust in one side or the other. Is there people that may be working on behalf of the people within the government on either side? Yes, absolutely. Are there people who may get certain positions that could be beneficial? Yes. But overall, the whole system is enemies to God's chosen people. We're talking about those who control the resources, those who control the finances, those who control the laws, rules, regulation, and the judicial system are your enemies. And they are fueled by the hatred of God's chosen people. Now, when we start there as a foundation, we actually know what we're dealing with. Right? We know what we're dealing with. All right, let's continue here.
But this is exactly why us as a people, Black people.
And I want to read this scripture here. It says, though he humbled himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him, as if thou hadst wipeth a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Now, even if you humble yourself, even if you yield, you capitulate, you mold yourself, you categorize yourself, no matter what it is you do, once you really take a look at what you're battling against, you're dealing with your enemies. In hindsight, they're all your enemies. The Democrats are going to pander to you, and they don't have your best interest at heart. The Republicans want to replace your history. The Republicans are money hungry. The Democrats are as well. They just know how to do it by exploitation. But when you look at it, these are all your enemies. This is how they will come against God's chosen people. Old School Rules, thank you for the support. Proverbs 25:19 says, confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Absolutely. All right. Let's continue here.
Can't trust anyone. This is exactly why we have to think before we can open up to anyone. Even when they show us that they might be okay, they're not. They fake, they phony, and they always have an agenda. Okay? Now, the picture that I'm about to show you, it was done by kids. You could tell it was done by kids. But I want you to know that all of our neighbors here are palm colored. So that means that if the kids are writing this kind of stuff on the sidewalk in front of our house, where did they learn it from? These are the same neighbors who want to wave to you and smile at you. How you doing today? Bull crap. You know what I really wanted to say. Push come to shove. They all like that. And you can't trust any of them.
And I know that she's probably speaking about an isolated situation that took place in her neighborhood. But I want you to understand that the mass majority feel this way about the children of the Most High God, those from the diaspora. You know what I mean? This is the reason why, there's been so much ethnic purging taking place. Because make no mistake about it, I don't care if you Democrat, Republican. I don't care if you say, oh, we love all you guys. And no. Are you supportive towards us? Are you actually showing up for us? Are you really speaking on behalf of us? Or do they use, or on the Democratic side, do they only use it when it can get them some type of political funding? Because far as I'm concerned, they all the same. And we had that young lady get gunned down in the street by ICE agents. They wanted to wreak havoc. They wanted to take to the scene, and they exploded on the streets, nationwide protests. But they wasn't doing that for us all this time. But conveniently, because an unarmed Caucasian woman was gunned down, it sparks into worldwide protests. But we can name the list. Our list is innumerable. Eric Gardner, George Floyd. I mean, y'all can list them in there. Trayvon Martin. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. This has been happening so long. Listen, this is the reason why we're checking out. We're checking out. And I'm talking about foundational Black Americans, the tribe of Judah that the Bible speaks of. We are checking out of the bipartisan system. We do not trust any of you all. There is no comprehensive plan for Black America. We are not rocking with any of y'all. And when you speak the way I'm speaking and you make it clear that we're not going to play their game, they're afraid of this. It's the type of talk that really ruffles their feathers. Because I'm supposed to be on one side or the other. But no, we're going to stay out of the political system and let this thing continue to implode. Why are they not doing nothing for us? Simple as that. The people who built this country. Nothing is being done.
Okay. But I'm going to show you this picture, and I hope it pisses you off just as much as it pisses me off. They used the sidewalk chalk that my grandbaby uses outside on the sidewalk to draw her hopscotches and tic-tac-toes and things like that. So she left a piece out there. So that's what they used. Right in front of our door. All right. I'm going to show you this picture. And like I said, I hope you get just as pissed as I am.
Now, we know that racism is very much prevalent in this American culture. And I want to be very clear about this. I want to be very clear about this. America was founded on racism. It was founded on bloodshed. It was founded on the transatlantic slave trade and the destruction of the North American Indians. It was founded on it. Imperialism and colonialism have been the name of America since its inception. The racism stems so deep that the only way to reverse it is the Most High actually judge this place. That's how rotten to the core it is. So we can expect a political party to come for our rescue. It said the N-word run. In some regards, it is about time that we truly be set apart. I mean, something got to give. Something's got to give. The bipartisan system is done. It's done. There's a whole lot of people having dreams of martial law, dreams of social cataclysms, and while they're dreaming, it's actually happening. Now, we're talking about the Democrats and Republicans being the same. And what I want you to understand is the battle has always been against itself. America is the snake that is eating its own tail. That's what America is. And the sooner you see that, the sooner you will move like someone who understands what your purpose is in this life. Now, I want to share another source with you all, and I got to definitely chime in on this one, all right?
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example.
Now, this speech was done in 1958, Robert Welch. And he's talking about how they would systematically and incrementally destroy America from the inside out. And you're going to need a bipartisan system to do that. You're playing two sides against each other. And see, most Americans, let me explain this to you. Most Americans grow up believing that the country is divided into two completely different sides: Democrats versus Republicans, blue versus red, liberals versus conservatives. But the deeper you look into it, the more you realize the fight that we see on television is really just performance art. It's not based in reality. Because no matter who wins, no matter who wins the elections, no matter who wins the debates, the average person is still struggling. The system keeps expanding and the same institutions remain untouched and unscathed. The names change, but the system always stays the exact same. The system always stays the same. You gotta be paying attention to what's really happening. New players, same moves being made.
Now, here are the aims for the United States. 1, greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes. 3, an increasingly unbalanced budget despite the higher taxes. 4, wild inflation of our currency. 5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied naturally and automatically by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government.
Wow. And this was done in 1958, y'all. One of the biggest similarities between Democrats and Republicans is that both are pretty much deeply tied to the same donor base. It's the same billionaires, the same corporations, Rothschilds, Rockefeller, same lobbying groups. They getting money from the same special interest funds, the same campaigns on both sides. That means that many politicians, regardless of the party, they answer towards the money. Downward towards the people, upward towards the money. They debate only cultural issues loudly. But when it comes to corporate profit, Wall Street stability, and protecting the economic elite, the two parties often operate like partners. And this is the reason why you will see these people together. You will see Obama, sharing laughs with Donald Trump, but socially they're arguing about certain matters. No, they're all one and the same. They're all one and the same. They all have the same goals. Somebody said, what's the solution? Well, the solution would be that we need to be actually doing something for ourselves. We've done land initiatives. We spoke about the importance of coming together, building resources with one another with like-minded people, planting your own gardens, tilling your own soil, having resources that you can share amongst each other. That's the importance. That's a move right there that you could make. And not be under the rule and thumb of these deceivers. And right now you're being, some of you all are really being educated to the facts. And truth is power. The truth will set you free.
7. Far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8. The steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9. A constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace. Peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government, which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world.
Now, this is very important because the only way to practice this type of ideological subversion is to have a bipartisan system. The only way to really break the people down to accept such a system is you have to have two opposing sides arguing so you can play the people against each other. And that's what they've done. And they've done it very, very successfully. Even in 2026, you got people who just simply can't see it. You know? Another major similarity is in foreign policy as well. You know, different presidents use different language, but America's global military footprint, it never changes. You know, I seen an interview with Kamala Harris said that she was thinking about bombing Iran. They asked her directly, if you get elected, would you bomb Iran? And she said, listen, they can't have nuclear capabilities. You know, a lot of people was upset with Trump, but Kamala Harris would have done the same thing because they're being controlled by certain lobbyists, certain power groups, certain corporations. That's how it works. And war is big money, so they're going to do what it is they need to do. You know, when it comes down to it, they have to follow the billionaire interests. You know, different presidents may speak differently, but the U.S. military going to do the same thing. The defense budgets and overseas involvement is always going to continue under both parties. That's why it's constant war in America, always constant war. You know, Congress will always repeatedly pass massive defense spending bills with support for Democrats and Republicans. Why? Because America is a war machine. It doesn't depend on elections. It transcends the election. It's not, you're not selecting anyone. Or I should say, you're not electing anyone. It's a selection. They know in advance who's going to be the president. Jesse Ventura was talking a great deal about this. He spoke a great deal about that. I'm telling you, you got to wake up to what's really going on. You really got to wake up to what's going on.
All right, this video is going to ruffle some feathers for sure, but I will unapologetically give my opinion on this channel, no fucks given. And if I lose subscribers, oh well. But the state of this country, United States of America, it has never been, in my lifetime, in the longest time, worse than it is right now. It has never been this bad. All right, I was at work today, and I was thinking, you know, Our entire lives are controlled by this dollar. This dollar that we're all working for, number one, that has lost 98% of its value since the 1800s, since the late 1800s, by the way. I've mentioned this before. The dollar has lost 98% of its value. All right. We are working day in and day out, busting our ass, 2, 3 jobs. Sometimes that doesn't even cut it anymore. Side hustles, other gigs, multiple people working multiple jobs, living together in order to pay the rent and pay for food for each other. We are in desperate times. We are in deep shit. We are bamboozled. We have been bamboozled time and time and time again over the years by different administrations, different presidents, different candidates, telling all of us the same goddamn thing.
I mean, they've been telling us the same thing over and over, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. Nothing has gotten better. You know, the government just keeps expanding. Both parties they also, contribute to the expansion of surveillance and policing about the same. And it's a lot of money that goes towards that. It's a lot of institutional control. Republicans tend to justify it through security and law. But Democrats, they'll justify it through safety and protection. But the results are the same. A loss of rights from American people. The government grows more powerful while ordinary people grow more monitored, taxed, and restricted. Which we should be able to see at this point that the real divide isn't left versus right. The real issue is not Democrats versus Republicans. It's the people versus a permanent establishment that benefits no matter who sits in office. The system survives every election cycle because division keeps citizens distracted. Red and blue are only fighting in the public, but the structure of power will always remain united. And that's why we have to wake up to this, because this is what has made people slaves to the system. They really buy into this. You should see all of these damn, hold on, my bad. Let me see here. Hold on. Yeah, you should see all of these pundits, these content creators that's Black Republican this and Black Democrat that, and they just going back and forth and back and forth. And it gets to the point where it just gives me a headache because I can see it. And even the creators who should have a free mind, they don't even have a free mind. They have to choose one side or another, so much so to the point where someone like myself that's a free thinker, I have to automatically get labeled a Democrat or a Republican. It's foolish. Yep, Jeremiah 16 and 19. Surely our fathers have inherited lies. Vanity and things wherein there is no profit. That's right. That's right. And it's all over social media. It's all over the net. We're just people fighting to protect a system that doesn't care for them. It's crazy.
Just vote for us. Just vote for us.
Just vote for. Look, just vote for us. And the young man is telling the truth. Even the Gentiles would say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. This Gentile brother's like, look, yo, no matter who you put in that office, they all are the same. What's repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? That's insanity. We're experiencing insanity. Steve E is in the building. What's going on? He says, ain't no free mind if you're suffering from cognitive dissonance or spiritual dissonance. Right. And it's a lot of that. Yep. Ronald says political parties are like choosing a football team to support. Right. When the whole game is fixed.
Just vote for us. We promise you that everything's gonna get better. America is going to get better. You just need to vote one more time. We promise. This will be the last vote you'll ever need to make. And then America's going to be great again. We'll start. Trust us, the billionaire class. Trust us. We have your best interests in heart. We have the money to make things happen. You have to trust us because we say so. You're looking for a savior, right? You're looking for a savior. Save the United States of America. Well, it's me, George W. Bush. It's me. Barack Obama says it's me. Fucking Donald Trump. It's Joe Biden. It's everyone, right? How many more? How many more presidents? How many more candidates? How many more times our people are going to have to vote? Our people are going to have to vote before they fucking wake the fuck up and realize it's not getting better. It's not getting better. Okay? It's never getting better here. Trump, and I realize it's every administration. I realize that. Before anybody goes, Biden did it. I know that. I didn't like Biden at all either. I made fun of him too. All right? The only difference is that shit's in the past now. Now we got the Republicans in office. We got a Republican administration, okay? Republican president. You can call him, but he's not really Republican. All right? Many people might say he is, all right? But he's just another for the donor class president.
Exactly. He's another for donor class president, a millionaire president. Donald Trump is a billionaire baby, man. You know, the fact that he was able to convince, you know, the world, or at least his fan base, or whoever you want to call these people, MAGA, the fact that he was able to convince them that he was one of them, and that was just a masterful job. I mean, he really convinced a bunch of rednecks, you know, respectfully, that he's one of them. And it's just, that's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy, because this man been a millionaire, been a billionaire his whole life. He doesn't relate to these people at all. He's there to do the bidding of the ruling class elite. And that's that. He's a Manchurian candidate, there to fulfill a purpose, and then he's gone. You know, and we got to wake up to this. We have to absolutely wake up to this. Stop letting these people tell you somebody's going to save America, because God himself said if America was going to be saved, he would have saved it already. If Babylon was meant to be revived, the Most High would have revived it already. It's not going to happen.
Right? But now we have Trump. Now we have Trump's party. And is it better? No, it's not better. He's not making anything better. It's been what? It's been less than a year. No, I take that back. It's 1 year. Excuse me. 1 year since he's gotten office. 1 year. 1 year. And the damage, the division and the damage he's caused already is insurmountable. I mean, I've never seen so much damage done from one administration in 1 year. I mean, wow, dude, like, and you all fell for it. So many people fell for it. No wars. What happened to it? No wars. We're going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. We're going to not get involved in foreign affairs. We're definitely not going to bomb other countries. We're going to lower hyperinflation. We're going to lower prices, rent prices. We're going to make housing affordable, right? We're going to make wages better. We're going to bring back manufacturing.
They tell us the same thing over and over. You know, this is what we've been speaking about for a long time now. It ain't going to get no better. So we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and start really thinking about what we need to do as people. Start preparing for the times. If we want to keep being lied to until it's no freedoms left, and the future of our next generation just have it horribly? Do we want to just keep doing that, or do we want to move accordingly?
Jobs to Americans from overseas that got shipped overseas. Remember that? Excuse me. I'm getting over a cold. Remember that? That was one of the big ones. We're going to bring manufacturing jobs back overseas. What happened? Did that happen? No. Are manufacturing jobs still being shipped out overseas? You bet your ass they are. They're still being shipped out overseas. Are we still going through hyperinflation? Yes. Are we still have high rent? Yes. High food prices? Yes. Has anything gotten better for the American people since he took office? No.
And it's because they're all the same. They're all the same. Listen, I want to go to another source here, and I'm gonna really chime in on this one, because we gotta cook. We gotta cook when it comes to it. We find this. One moment.
I am going to try and say this with as clear, calm, and sober a tone as I can possibly manage. We are heading towards another world war. And no, this is not me catastrophizing. No, this is not me being hyperbolic or fear-mongering. Because I know that the fear of a world war is what everyone starts talking about after every single atrocity, after every conflict, every tense moment. That is what we always say, and it hasn't been true until now. It's not just Venezuela. Venezuela alone is a terrifying violation of international law on a scale that risks dismantling the era of peace, relative peace, I should say, that we have endured since the Second World War. But it is not just Venezuela. We have a government who is saying, yeah, we did this in Venezuela. Yeah, we attacked this country that we have not declared war on, and we have kidnapped their sovereign leader. Yes, we've done that, and you know what? We're going to do it to others. We are going to do it in Cuba. We are going to do it in Colombia. We are going to do it in Mexico. We are going to do it in Greenland. We're going to do it against Denmark, a NATO partner. And sure, we all took it as somewhat of a joke when Trump suggested that he would go and take Greenland. However,
and you know the interesting part about Trump trying to acquire Greenland, you know, going against NATO, right? The way he is. You know, I had to go do my research, come to find out that America is really only funding about 16% of NATO's finances. And of course, America does have a heavy military presence with NATO, but 16% isn't a lot. And when it breaks down, when you crunch the numbers, it's very little when it comes to America's defense budget compared to what America has. So I say that to say, what does Trump have to gain by making enemies with NATO or losing NATO as an ally while simultaneously he's going around colonizing? So, you know, why is Trump doing that unless he's purposely trying to leave America in the dark? You know, start all these wars and battles and start all these fires and then ruin our allies? And this is why, prophetically speaking, I say America, it has to be doing this on purpose. This has to be something straight out of the book of Revelations They have to be imploding America on purpose. That's the only way I can look at moves like that. Or Trump really believes that, you know, he can take on NATO. Or the pride of America has gotten too great to be contained and controlled. And you know what the Bible say about pride? It comes before the fall.
We can't take those as jokes anymore. We never really should have. Because he just bombed Venezuela, went in and kidnapped their head of state. Not only that, he's not even saying he's doing it to uphold some sort of international law or boundary. No, he's saying he's doing it because he is asserting that we have a right to Venezuela, that we have a right to their resources and their economy. He is saying that we have a right to them just because they are in the Americas, and he is claiming that we have hegemonic control over all of the Americas. Now ask yourself, how do we achieve that? How do we actually assert control over all of North America and South America? If you think South America doesn't fucking fight back, you're insane. But moreover, do you think the world just stops and lets that happen? Now, you think the world might be terrified enough that they wouldn't try and fight us in our own backyard, and you might be right, but hey, what do you think the other major powers of the world are going to start doing once they realize that there are no rules anymore, that in fact you can go and seize territory that you want by force?
Exactly. See, when Trump did what he did in Venezuela, that was about sovereignty being violated. And that changed things on a global scale. You know, it wasn't just about Venezuela. And, you know, in order for America to do such a thing, there had to be some agreement between all parties involved when it comes to America. You know, one of the biggest reasons Democrats and Republicans end up looking the same is because Washington isn't really run by voters. It's run by networks. You know, people go from government to corporate boards to lobbying firms. Then they go right back into the government again. That is what you call a revolving door. You know, they don't care about what party it is. That's how you see our Vice President, J.D. Vance, was talking cash money-ish about Trump, and then he joined Trump. Why? Because it's one elite class managing power. The average citizen is told to believe they're choosing a completely different future every 4 years. Nonsense. It's nonsense. They keep the public locked in a culture war. All you see online with a lot of these pundits, these talking heads, it's just a culture war. The other day, they had Nick Fuentes, and they had what is his name, Andrew Tate, and a whole host of these guys. You know, what is the Eritrean dude? They had him, Myron Gaines, and they had all these guys going to the club partying. Now, that for some reason that went viral. These are just a bunch of pundits that speak on political issues, but they're being highlighted. Why? Because they're being highlighted for cultural reasons. They're no different than Donald Trump. Your Nick Fuentes is no different than a Donald Trump. Nick Fuentes could be the president one day. One of those guys that you've seen in that video at the club playing Hail Hitler can be they can be the damn president one day, because that's how much of a cultural social war it is in America. The ruling class, the elitists, they don't give a damn who the president is. I don't think people understand how deep the rabbit hole goes. You know? Their battle is against social issues. You know, while everyone is distracted, the major financial system, corporate monopolies, foreign policy, all those decisions, they don't even get spoke about out loud like that. Those get dealt with in corporate boardrooms, behind the scenes, with people that you never even seen before. We talking about trillionaires. The loudest fights that we see are more often than not over issues that don't even threaten the establishment at all. Smoke screens is what you get from the government. That's it. It's just smoke screens. That's why every election sounds like the same recycled script. Hope, change, freedom. You hear that on the democracy side. Hope, change, freedom. The people. But after all them damn speeches fade, the results are the damn same. Rising costs, deeper surveillance, expanding government, more money flowing upwardly. Same damn product, different packaging. You just got one side that's going to market itself as being compassionate, and the other side is going to market itself as being strong. But both operate inside the same corporate controlled framework. The same thing. And it's like, you know, you gotta be pretty much blind not to see it, man. And they all damn devil worshippers. You know, they all worship Satan. They all worship Beelzebub. They all be at the damn Rothschild parties with elaborate animal masks and costumes on, hugging trees, up in a damn Bohemian Grove, running around the woods butt ass naked. They all are weirdos and freaks. And that's what the hell your government is being ran by. I'm sorry, I gotta tell you the truth, y'all. I can't stand the games that's being played. I can't stand the games that's being played. And the system always going to win because it's designed to. And what the two-party structure does is it gives people the feeling of participation. That's why I never really believed in voting and all that, because it's just a feeling they give you. But at the same time, they keeping the boundaries extremely narrow when it comes to real transformation. Anything that would threaten corporations, intelligence agencies, or military contractors, you're not going to be able to pass that as people. You're not going to be able to overthrow any of the financial institutions in order to give people what they deserve or put money into our communities. That's why both parties always fall back into alignment. Especially if their interest is on the same lines. Only thing these people do is trade insults. But the power is going to protect itself, man. Telling you.
And the world is not going to do anything about it. Well, they're going to do it too, not just because they want it, but because if they don't do it, now they're going to fall even further behind the power of the United States. It's going to be an arms race to seize land, resources, territory, all of that.
And you know, the whole government agrees with that. Democrats and Republicans, they agree on what's being done. Some people be sitting there be like, well, why the Democrats ain't stop Trump? Why he able to do this? What about Congress? Why nobody? Man, they all together, bro. Come on, man. We got to grow up. We still think this is good guy versus bad guy. I know they all together. Well, why did Congress let Donald Trump go kidnap the man and his wife in Venezuela? What? Because they all together, man. Why else? You know? See, most people don't really realize that politics have now become psychological warfare. It ain't about policy. It's about identity. You know, people, they attach their egos, their emotions, their morality all to one party or the next. And once you personally attach to a side, and you banging like it's Crips or Bloods. Once that happens, they know they can control you forever. Because you're going to do what? You're going to defend your team no matter what. That's your team. Who am I to tell you about Kamala Harris or Joe Biden? Who am I to tell you about Donald Trump? That's the team you play for. You got that MAGA hat on. You wearing your colors. You under the beast deception. Who am I to tell you? Even though what I'm saying is completely the truth, honest to God truth, or what this really is about, this whole Baphomet system is under Satan's structure. But who am I to tell you that when you already chose a side? You know? That's why the system doesn't even really fear informed citizens anymore. It really fears awakened citizens who stop playing the team, who stop playing the team game. Because you can be informed all day. You can be informed about who did what president said what happened here, what policy changed, what shifted. You can be informed all you want. That don't mean a damn thing. When you're awakened, you are a threat. When you just decide that you're going to unplug altogether, now they're afraid. Now they're afraid. They ain't afraid because you done chose MAGA or you done chose liberals or whatever. They're afraid when you choose Yah. When you choose the Almighty. When you choose to have real discernment. When you choose repentance. When you choose long suffering, when you choose the God of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that's when they get afraid when you speak. Because you'll have people who really fed into the system. They'll be offended because you shaking up their reality. Yeah, you'll have people afraid because you're trying to wake them out the matrix. You like, look, man, you in the matrix, man. Democrats, Republicans, man, what are you talking about? They all work together. Trump, Biden, oh, they one and the same. They one and the same. Ain't none of them doing nothing different. Let's make that clear. The Babylonian system is what it is. Telling you now. Let me see. Somebody says, once I started reading the Bible, I had my awakening. That's what's up. That is what's up. Yeah, you got to back away from playing a team game entirely. For real. You got to understand the media is the engine that keeps all this running. Every day they feed people outrage, sound bites, scandals, constant conflict. And the goal is never clarity. The goal is engagement as long as the people are emotionally addicted to the battle. People don't never step back far enough to see the structure that's behind everything. That's the thing about God's chosen people. We are three-dimensional thinkers. We out here playing 3D chess with these people. We're not looking at one side. You're not gonna pigeonhole us. The media, nobody who's a part of mainstream media will never, ever dismantle the system. Only thing that the characters can do is they can manage the narratives within this system. That's all they come with is narratives. So the deeper truth is this. The real divide isn't left versus right. It's not Democrat versus Republican. It's the People versus permanent institutions, y'all. Because they have built this whole system on illusion. This is why your discernment matters. If you spend your whole entire life defending a political party, you may never realize that you're defending the same damn system that has you in captivity. The moment you stop worshiping politics, you start seeing clearly. This struggle we're looking at ain't about a damn donkey versus an elephant. It's about whether people gonna wake up or not, unite, demand something deeper than control opposition, demand some damn tangibles, demand some resources, demand some reparations, or go out here and get it yourself. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps and get your own resources. Come together with like-minded people to get your own resources. Until then, the illusion is going to continue. Citizens, and to the point they're going to have the citizens banging on each other. While everybody up top, they remain protected. And you got to break out that spell. The election's always going to change faces, but they ain't never going to change the damn machine. Never. It's time we wake up, man. Democrats and Republicans work for the same party. And I found it very necessary to do this particular broadcast because y'all have no idea how often people accuse me of being on one side or the other, no matter how much I say it. So I had to do a stream that just simply dedicated to it. And I want this to be a reference point. This stream right here is just simply a reference point. Where if anybody come in my broadcast and say you're a Democrat or you're a liberal or you just because I'm speaking against Trump, let's just go back to this video, right? We can go back to this video and let it be known that I don't have a political affiliation. And this is what it is. They all secretly work for each other. And I'm all about us empowering ourselves. Look, I just wanted to let that be known. That's why I went live. We might experience some technical issues towards the beginning. But nonetheless, I want to thank y'all for showing up. And peace and blessings to everybody. Let me see if I played the rest of this video out or not.
In order to maintain balance and power on the world stage. And once again, if the U.S. seizes Greenland, that puts us at war, or at least significantly at odds with a NATO member. And so then NATO has to ask itself, are we going to go to war against the United States because they're the ones attacking a NATO member? Or do we just disband NATO? And when you disband NATO, what else happens after that? Suddenly, these smaller countries that have been under the protection of NATO are now open to attack. And, vice versa, the more powerful countries in NATO, now they have a vested interest to do the same, to land grab as quickly and as strongly as they possibly can. Once again, in order to survive the world order that the U.S. is defining for us. And again, this isn't fear-mongering. This isn't hyperbole. This is playing out what would happen if the leader of our country does the things he says he's going to do after proving that he is willing to go to greater lengths than any president in history. We need to understand the only way we avoid all of that, we avoid a third world war, is if the domestic situation of the United States becomes untenable to maintain these assaults abroad. That's the only way. If the U.S. home front remains tranquil, the world goes to war. That's the reality.
Yeah, that's on point. That's why you can't be emotionally invested. And that's what we also been preaching over here. The more tranquil the people remain, the more the people decide not to be emotionally invested and get pulled and tossed to and fro and get involved with all of these proxies and the more the American people establish themselves as being non-biased to the whole entire everything going on in the media, the less chances of war. That's why they are really fighting tooth and nail to get you emotionally invested. You know, the Democrats spent all that time telling you they're against the Second Amendment. Now, every video you see with the Democrats saying we need to go out here and fight ICE. Yo, you go out there and fight ICE if you want to. Fatality. You're going to get your ass blown out your boots, especially if you think you're going to go up there with a bunch of Ellen DeGeneres, have bull daggers out there with duck hunting boots on, out there with some damn AKs, thinking that they're going to fight ICE. And then you got this new Black Panther Party BS, and I'm calling it BS because I don't trust them. I just don't trust the new Black Panther Party. Where the hell you niggas come from? All of a sudden, these niggas popped out of nowhere. All of a sudden, a white lady gets shot in front of her house, and the Black Panther show up? Where you niggas been all these years? Respectfully, I don't trust it. Do that make any sense, or do that seem like some Democratic, hey, we need y'all to grab some guns and come outside? No, we gonna chill. We chilling in the house. It's cold as hell outside in Minnesota. What y'all doing out there? Go get some hot chocolate and sit your ass in the house. You don't see that they trying to bring you out there? You don't see that they're energy harvesting? You don't see that this is order out of chaos? You don't see the games they playing? The Black Panthers automatically show up. What is going on here? Yeah, I believe they actors too. I'm gonna have to do a whole video on these cats. I'm gonna have to do a whole video on them, y'all. Y'all know I rock with the Black Panthers. I grew up looking up to the Black Panthers. I got grandparents that was rocking with the Black Panthers. But those guys, the way they just popped up, don't seem organic to me. I mean, I love the Second Amendment. I don't have nothing against the Second Amendment. But you're not going to have me go form no armed militia with my folks and over a situation like that. And I don't even know if that was real. It could have been AI. There was a damn Tyrannosaurus Rex in the damn video. What the hell was the T-Rex doing there? Fatality. I don't know. You ain't going to have me out there. I think I'll pass on that. On one part, her fingers merged together like it was AI. Nah, I'm good. I believe nothing I hear and half of what I see in the media, bro. They give us so many false flag events. They give us so many situations, so many lies to try to draw out public outrage. No, I don't believe none of it. We gonna know when it's go time. We gonna know. And when it's go time, listen, our creator gonna be all in the midst of everything we do. We ain't even gonna have to question nothing. We ain't gonna have to question nothing. Anyway, I just wanted to come and chop it up with y'all. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining. This was an interesting stream here. Hold on.
That's where we are right now. If you are a politician, especially in the federal government, and if you are not using every single ounce of your power to grind this war machine to a halt, you are complicit in the deaths to come. And I know that if you work in the federal government, you are used to people saying you're complicit in deaths, maybe even thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. But a world war in the modern era is death on a scale we've never seen before. We need to understand that, and we need to understand that now before it comes to pass. I don't care how scary and dangerous you think resistance is now. It is nowhere near as scary and dangerous as what you and your children and your loved ones are going to have to face once they are drafted into a military and sent to fight nuclear powers, sent to fight nations with people in the billions. There's no winning a war like that.
Hey, man, the Bible says a third of man gonna fall, man, in these times. If people don't quite get it. But, you know, according to the Trump administration, he's claiming that the enrollment rate in the military in America has went up expeditiously. I don't know how true that is, but I hope y'all not signing up to fight Trump's wars, man. Not gonna look too good. Especially if NATO removes their support. Listen, and you dealing with all these small countries that got a problem with America, and they got all these guerrilla warfare tactics, man, that ain't no walk in the park. It ain't sweet. It ain't gonna be just drone warfare the whole time. It's gonna be on ground to ground combat. It ain't gonna be like you playing Call of Duty. It's gonna get real in the battlefield.
It doesn't matter if your country achieves its objectives. There is no winning for anyone. It is death, pain, and destruction on a scale never seen before. We must do everything we can to stop that now.
Well, the way we stop it is we stop buying into the system. Simple as that. We got to stop buying into the system. Stop believing their lies. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I got more material coming. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're on the East Coast to the Mid-Atlantic region, be safe out there, y'all. There's an ice storm warning brewing for a lot of cities, all the way through the I-95 corridor. Some of you all may need to run your water tonight. Get some hot water dripping so it don't freeze your pipes. And a lot of these areas on the East Coast, they're talking about frozen power lines as well. So, you know, they're talking about 31-degree temperature. Some places they're talking about 14 inches of snow. So hopefully you got all your goods that you need. And you just, you know, keeping your pipes warm so you can at least get that hot water flowing. And y'all stay safe, man. Stay warm, stay comfortable and cozy, and you know, get into some word. You know, I'm gonna be going live throughout this weekend, just chopping it up with y'all. There's a lot going on anyway that I need to chop it up with y'all about. Somebody says, Newbury, will you be alive tomorrow? I sure hope I'll be alive tomorrow. I sure hope I will be alive tomorrow. I don't know if you meant, will I be live tomorrow? I don't know if I'm going to be alive tomorrow, but if I'm alive, I'll be here. If I'm alive, if I wake up tomorrow, I'll be here at some point of the day. But I want to thank y'all for y'all support. Yep. If you in the Carolinas, yeah, I'm going to do a live, and hopefully by tomorrow I have everything kind of worked out and y'all can get a stream that goes seamless, no dead air, none of that, because it's been affecting the numbers. But, you know, that's what happened. It's a learning curve when you learn a new software. So, but blessings to y'all, man. Y'all stay safe out there. More material coming. Thank all the moderators. Y'all been holding it down, doing a fantastic job. Y'all have a good evening. Rest well. Shalom. Peace.